Thank
Okay,
you.
so the recording has started.
Hello, everyone. This is Stephen Vassallo, your ARAS moderator for today. Through the help of amateur radio volunteers and the crew on the ISS, we soon hope to establish radio contact with the International Space Station as it flies about 400 kilometers above the Earth over Italy. This is all accomplished through ARAS, amateur radio on the International Space Station. The ISS is currently approaching the west coast of Europe and traveling along at about 27,000 kilometers per hour. The contact for today will be performed using the ARAS Telebridge network, a worldwide network of amateur radio ground stations that enable students to contact the ISS. ARAS is an international consortium of volunteers from several nations that assist to develop and operate the amateur radio equipment on board the International Space Station. Some of those that support ARAS are the American Radio Relay League, the worldwide AMSAT Amateur Radio Satellite Corporations, the Canadian Space Agency, the European Space Agency, the Japanese Space Agency, Roscosmos, the Russian Space Agency, and NASA. The amateur radio ground station that will establish radio contact with the ISS today is IK1SLD, located in Casale, Monferrato, Italy, and operated by Claudio Ariotti and his team. Thanks for helping us out today, Claudio.
Thank you to you, Stephen.
So we have about another 5 minutes and 50 seconds until acquisition of signal, and the ISS currently just over the Atlantic Ocean. So our ARAS link up today will be with student participants from Diamond Harbour School, Christchurch, New Zealand. Now let's check in with the students. We've asked coordinating teacher Katrine Pringle to please tell us about the students that are taking part today.
Thank you, Stephen, and good evening, everyone. We're delighted to be speaking with you tonight from Diamond Harbour, a small coastal community on Banks Peninsula, New Zealand, overlooking the beautiful waters of Lyttelton Harbour. In our everyday lives, we're used to connecting with the wider world across our harbour, watching ferries and ships travel in and out. But tonight we have the unique opportunity to shift our gaze from the water and look to the skies instead. Our journey to this moment began a year ago with a whole school inquiry entitled Space Odyssey. Throughout this learning, students explored our solar system, the planets, our moon, sun and the stars, and distant galaxies in rich, cross-curricular ways. This included designing and building robotic Mars rovers, writing poetry, news reports and scientific explanations inspired by space, calculating vast distances across the solar system, and even moving into filmmaking, where each class created a space-themed short film showcased at our school film festival. In preparation for tonight's contact, last term we focused on communication and sound, investigating how radio works and how sound waves travel. We were fortunate to be supported by Roger Corbett from the Christchurch Amateur Radio Group, who's with us this evening. Roger led workshops where students learned to use handheld radios and explore the science of radio communication. We also welcomed inspiring visitors from the local and national aerospace community. Dr. Sarah Kessens from the University of Canterbury shared her work on space-based synthetic biology experiments. And Mark Rocket from Kia Aerospace spoke to us about the development of solar-powered stratospheric aircraft being built and designed straight here in New Zealand. In preparation for tonight, students across the school were invited to think of questions to ask, and those representing us this evening have been chosen from each class. We're also very pleased to be joined by their families, members of our wider Diamond Harbour community, and our MP for Banks Peninsula, Dr. Vanessa Weening, as well as a crew from TVNZ, who are all sharing in this special moment with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Katrine. Claudio, before the contact begins, can you please tell us about your ARAS ground station, where you are, and how you'll handle the conversation?
Okay, thank you, Stephen, for your presentation. Briefly, our Telebridge station is located in Casale Monferrato, northwest of Italy, 100 kilometers from Turin and Milan. And we have a complete station with automatic system to track the ISS in real time, and the antenna is just pointing the International Space Station, rising in a few minutes, 2 minutes and a half in this moment. When we have the acquisition of signal, I'll go to call Jack from the International Space Station, operating today with Oscar Romeo 4, India Sierra Sierra call sign. And as soon as the signal will be loud and clear, I will invite the first student to the microphone. And for everyone, don't forget to say over, because this is a very important thing to coordinate the conversation between us and the astronaut. Now we see the ISS approaching to the Spain and France. We have 1 minute and 50 seconds from now to OS. So microphone back to you, Stephen.
Thank you, Claudio. So yeah, we have approximately 1 minute and 35 seconds until expected acquisition of signal. So before the space station comes over horizon at the ground station in Italy. Remember, what we're doing on the ISS is an experiment, so we can never tell the results, positive or negative, until the experiment is over. And students, again, don't forget to say over at the end of your question. So in a short time, the station will come over IK1 SLD ground station in Italy, and we have about 1 minute until the acquisition of signal. So it's over to you, Claudio, and good luck.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. This is the radio. I test now. Okay, do you copy, Stephen?
Yes, I can hear that. Thank you.
Thank you to you. Okay, I'm calling now. Oscar Romeo 4, India Sierra Sierra. This is India Kilo 1 Sierra Lima Delta, Claudio, Telebridge Station, calling for a scheduled Irish contact. Do you copy, Jack? Over. Oscar Romeo 4, India Sierra Sierra. This is India Kilo 1 Sierra Lima Delta, Claudio, Telebridge Ground Station, calling for a scheduled Irish contact. Do you copy, Jack? Over. Oscar Romeo 4, India Sierra Sierra. This is India Kilo 1 Sierra Lima Delta, Claudio, Telebridge Ground Station, calling for a scheduled Irish contact. Do you copy, Jack? Over.
India Kilo 1 Sierra Lima Delta.
Okay, Oscar Romeo 4, India Sierra Sierra, IK1 SLD. Good morning, Jack from Italy, and thank you to reply to our call. Your signal is loud and clear. Today we introduced the Diamond Harbrour School in Christchurch, New Zealand. Jack, are you ready for first question? Over.
Good morning, Diamond Harbor School. I am ready for your first question.
Hi.
Okay, go ahead, Grace.
Hi, I'm Grace. Please could you describe the feeling of looking down on Earth for the first time from the space station? Over.
Hi, Grace. Good morning. Thanks for the first question. Looking down on the Earth from the space station is an incredible opportunity. You get to see the small, thin wisp of atmosphere that keeps us all safe. You see the vibrant blue and green and browns and all the colors of the Earth. And you realize how wonderful and special it is that we have this planet that we can call home, that keeps us safe and gives us food and air to breathe and lets us grow up. It's just such a wonderful opportunity. Over.
Hi, I'm Beckett. Can you feel gravity weakening as you go up in the rocket? Over.
Hi, Beckett. Thanks for the great science question. Actually, the answer is no, you can't feel it weaken because the rocket is pushing you up into space. And the force of the rocket pushing you up into space overcomes any sort of the feeling of the gravity weakening as you get further away from it. So all you feel is you feel the force of gravity and the force of the rocket initially, and then just the force of the rocket. And then once the rocket stops burning, just in an instant, you feel the zero gravity up here. Over.
Hi, I'm Will. What is your favourite thing about living aboard the ISS? Over.
Hi, Will. Thanks. My favorite thing about living aboard the ISS is what I'm doing right now. I love to talk to schools and kids and people around the world and share the wonderful experience of humanity being in space for over 25 years. Over.
Hi, I'm Jack. How does it feel to exercise in space? Does it feel any different to on Earth? Over.
Hi, Jack. That's a great name. You know, people named Jack get to be astronauts someday. Exercising in space feels different at the beginning and the end because when you start, you're still floating around in zero gravity, and then once you get on the exercise machine, it kind of holds you down, and you start to feel something like having the weight of gravity on you again. So that kind of feels different. Another thing is that we recover from exercise really quick. We can exercise every day because when we're not exercising, we're floating around in zero gravity, and our bodies recover. Over.
Hi, I'm Ellie. Please can you describe your favourite science experiment that you have been a part of on board the International Space Station? Over.
Hi, Ellie. Good morning. The favorite science experiment that's going on right now is the 3D printer. As we go on to the moon and Mars, we're going to not have enough space to bring with us all the stuff that we need. So if we can bring a 3D printer and we can print all the things that we need when we get there, we'll be a lot better off. Over.
Hi, I'm Lucy. Is it scary? Do you get scared at any point on the mission? Over.
Hi, Hetty. Well, one time I ate the last apple pie dessert, and that's one of my crewmates' favorites, so I was a little bit scared when they found out at the moment. But other than that, we have a great ground team and a great engineering and support team that works on all the details that keep us safe while we operate up here in space. So that gives me confidence in all the systems and hardware and people that we need to come up to space, live up here, and then safely come back home. Over.
Hi, I'm John T. What is the most dangerous thing you've experienced in space? Over.
Well, just like I told Hetty, maybe it was when I ate that last dessert without asking if anyone else wanted it first. Over.
Hi, I'm Annabelle. Can you describe what the most beautiful thing you've seen from the space station is and what it felt like seeing it? Over.
Hi, Annabelle. I like to look at a lot of things out the window. I like to look at places where I've lived and places where my friends and family lived. One of the greatest feelings up here is to fly over a part of the earth where a friend of yours has lived, take a picture of their city or maybe even their neighborhood, and then you can email it to them and share it with them and share a piece of what it's like to be able to look down on Earth up here. And that's a pretty awesome gift to give someone, and it feels pretty good. Over.
Hi, I'm Pfeiffer asking Jesse's question. What does the moon look like up close? Over.
Hey, Lucy, that's a great question. Actually, we talked to our friends on the Artemis 2 mission that just went around the moon a week or two ago, and they told us it looked pretty incredible from their vantage point as they circled around it. Here on the International Space Station, we're not that much closer to the moon than you are on the Earth, but we don't have to look through Earth's atmosphere, so it looks a little bit more clear to us up here. Over.
Hi, I'm Maddie. How does it feel when you are standing in your astronaut suit outside the space station ready for a spacewalk? Over.
Hi, Maddie. It's exciting. It's a little bit nervous. You feel like you're in a giant balloon because you're in your own pressure bladder to keep all the atmosphere inside that you need it. And it's a real exciting privilege to be able to go out and do a spacewalk. Over.
Hi, I'm Billy. Do you ever get lonely in space, even though there are other people with you? Over.
Hi, Billy. That's a really good question. being away from your family and your friends for 6 or 7 or 8 months like we're doing is always difficult. Even though we have a great crew of people up here that we're really great friends with and we get to hang out, you're always a little bit, you're a little bit lonely and you miss your family just a little bit. But we get to call them and talk to them, and I'm excited to get back home to them in a few months. Over.
Hi, I'm Benji. What do you like to do for fun on the ISS? Over.
Hi, Benji. I like to talk to school kids in New Zealand for fun, and I also like to have races with one of my buddies up here. We see how fast we can flow through the modules without crashing into anything. Over.
Hi, I'm Ted. When did you decide that you wanted to be an astronaut? Over.
Hi, Ted. I thought about being an astronaut when I was a little kid, like lots of little kids do, and then it just kind of never went away. Like I became a pilot in the Navy, and I really loved doing that. And then when there was an opportunity to apply to become an astronaut, I was like, sure, I'll give that a shot. Over.
Hi, I'm Finn. What challenges did you have to face to become the astronaut you are today? Over.
Hi, Finn. That's a great question. When you want to become an astronaut, there's no one great way to do that. You can be a pilot like me and come that route, and NASA likes having lots of test pilots around to help develop new vehicles. We also have lots of scientists and engineers around that become engineers as well. So I think the biggest challenge becoming an astronaut is finding the thing that you love to do and becoming great at it, whether being an engineer, a pilot, or a scientist. Over.
Hi, I'm Amber. When you get back home to Earth, how do you think it will feel to walk on land again? Over.
I think it will feel really heavy, like I have a bunch of weight in my shoes. Somebody's pushing me down. Over.
Hi, I'm Clara. What do you think you're going to miss the most about living on the space station when you get back to Earth? Over.
Hi, Clara. I think I'm going to be able to miss just being able to float around and not having to walk on things. I'll just be able to float over any obstacles and do backflips up here whenever I want, and I'll have to be subject to gravity again when I get back to Earth. Over.
Hi Jackie, it's Katrine Prinkle here, the teacher. On behalf of our school and the student participants, we wish to say thank you for this exciting opportunity to speak to you. We wish you well and we'll be watching with interest when you return home. So this is teacher Katrine Pringle closing the link.
Thanks, Diamond Harbor School. You guys are great to talk to. I'm glad you guys have been studying space. Good luck in your studies and good luck in your future. Over.
Okay, thank you, Jack from the ground station, IK1SLD. Thank you to you, and out.
This is Omega Romeo 4, India Sierra Sierra, the International Space Station. Out.
Well done. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just shared a wow moment of history. Amateur radio station IK1SLD, operated by Claudio Oriotti, contacted astronaut Jack Hathaway, KJ5NIV, operating OR4 ISS aboard the International Space Station, and spoke with students at Diamond Harbor School, New Zealand. Now for the international volunteer team of ARAs, including the amateur radio satellite corporations around the world, the American Radio Relay League, the Canadian Space Agency, the European Space Agency, the Japanese Space Agency, Roscosmos, and NASA. This is Stephen Vasello, VK4SJV, sending my greetings to you all in amateur radio terms, 73s, which means best wishes. Can you, Katrina, can you please stop the recording?